Coming up on BCN today, Andrew Scheer announces his resignation as leader of the Conservative Party. The Alberta government launches a war room to challenge oil and gas industry critics. After years of wrangling over Brexit, UK voters head to the polls today.
Your Canada. Your Southern Alberta. Your stories. From our studios in the heart of Lethbridge, it's BCN Today with Jeanette Roche.
Hello, and thank you for joining us on this Thursday. We begin today with some breaking news. Andrew Scheer has announced his resignation as leader of the Conservative Party. In a tweet at 10 a.m., he said, quote, "This was the most difficult decision I have ever had to make. I have announced my intention to step down as the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada once a new leader is elected. I am putting my party first and my family first." We do have a clip of his announcement.
Serving as leader of the party that I love so much has been the opportunity and challenge of a lifetime. And this was not a decision I came to lightly. This was a decision I came to after many long, hard conversations with friends and family over the past 2 months since the election campaign. This has been an incredible challenge for our family to keep up with the pace that is required to lead a caucus and a party into a general election.
Lethbridge police are advising the public to be wary of unsolicited text messages that claim to be from their bank, cell phone carrier, or other seemingly legitimate sources, especially when they contain links. It's called smishing, and it's the text message equivalent of email phishing scams. It's becoming prevalent, and police are aware of several residents who recently received messages that appear to be from their cell provider. The scam texts indicate that the victim has overpaid their monthly cell phone bill and must click the link in the message to deposit their refund. Anyone who receives such a message or any other unsolicited text that contains a link is advised to not click on it. If you receive a text message from a company you don't do business or that you do business with, please call them directly to verify the information before taking any action. 2 people crashed through the roof of a downtown building earlier this morning while it appears that they were trying to break in. Lethbridge police are investigating the incident after surveillance footage shows 2 people climbing on the roof, then falling through the ceiling of Able Dental in the 500 block of 5 Avenue South. The suspects were later seen leaving through an emergency exit, but nothing appears to be missing. The Alberta Court of Appeal will release its decision today on the sentence appeal of Travis Vader. Vader was convicted of killing 2 Edmonton area seniors, Lyle and Marie McCann, who disappeared in 2010 after setting out on a camping trip. He received a life sentence with no chance at parole for 7 years. The appeal court already turned down Vader's request for a new trial or for his charges to be stayed. Scientists and ag industry experts are all abound to talk about what's on the horizon for agriculture. Farming Smarter has been holding its Lethbridge conference at trade show for the past 2 days. The event is aimed at promoting learning and networking opportunities.
One of the projects that we'll talk to some of the guys here later is dog training. So they're using dogs for agricultural purposes, and they're training them to smell out a disease in canola. And it's soil-borne spores, and it's a disease that's not easily identified unless you pull out the plants. And so if you can't see it, then you can't detect it. So the dogs can actually do that for us.
We go into the shelters, and if the client doesn't want a specific breed, just wants the product to be done, then we'll target the shelters, and we're looking for the dogs that have caused the most problems to people in the shelters, that they've been turned in because they've been too high energy, they've been jumping on the couches, they've been crawling under things like that, and we want those dogs. So if we can save a shelter dog and give them a hero's life, because those dogs that are trained like this are of the highest medical care, the best fur care. I mean, they're kept in top athletic condition, and instead of just wasting away in a shelter because they chewed up somebody's shoes.
People look at a dog performing and think it's very simple, but it actually takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and the more The more different environments that you're able to train a dog and get the dog to perform, the more confident that it's going to be in time.
The event, which ends today in Lethbridge, also includes a silent auction and youth speakers. For more information on other Farming Smarter events, please visit farmingsmarter.com. Thousands of onlookers were put into the festive spirit Tuesday night as the CP holiday train made its stop in Lethbridge. Canadian country musicians Terry Clark and Dallas Smith entertained the crowds, and despite the temperature being a chilly -8 as the train rolled through, it didn't seem to dampen any Christmas spirits.
I'm here for Terry Clark.
It's a zoo here. Should have been a little more organization, but it's Christmas. You know, it's allowed. Stranger things do happen, you know, so what can you say?
The train won't be back in Lethbridge for another 2 years. The holiday train, of course, collects food donations and raises funds for local food banks as it makes its journey across Canada. They've raised $16 million and have collected 4.5 million pounds of food since its inaugural journey back in 1999. The Festival of Nativities is set to begin today. Over 500 donated nativities will be on display at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints on 28th Street South. The community is invited free of charge for an interactive experience. This year's theme is Back to Bethlehem.
The variety is stunning, and people just have to come and see to appreciate. From Africa to China to Mongolia, it's amazing. The first year began just in this auditorium, and it was filled, and it was the theme of Back to Bethlehem, which is the theme we have continued with throughout the last 4 years. The festival has expanded to include almost every room in the building. Yesterday we had close to 40 people. Today there aren't quite so many because most of the heavy lifting is done. And so now it's more detail, and we need the designers to help a lot with that. This is a very busy time of year, obviously, for everyone, but they're here. And we just want it to be successful, and we want the community to come and enjoy it with us.
Our invitation to the community is to come unto Christ, and that's why we want to do it. It's a great opportunity to really come and get away from the commercial aspect that the world is portrayed about Christmas and really focus on the Savior and this miraculous birth. And that's what it's all about.
We really encourage people to come to the concerts. There's some beautiful music that will be here. And also here in the auditorium, we have this thing going up, which will feature live performances every day, all day. So musicians will come and play the piano, violin, all instrumental, which is taped throughout the building.
The event runs from Thursday to Sunday. For more information, visit the Lethbridge Festival of Nativities Facebook page. Each week, the Galt Museum and Archives offers a creative experience for anyone interested in the history of Southern Alberta. The hands-on workshops are open to everyone, and yesterday participants had a chance to learn some of the history behind the Christmas wreath.
We learned some cool stuff at the Galt today.
We were talking about the history of the wreath today, looking at the origins going all the way back to ancient Rome and Greece, where some of the rulers would wear a laurel wreath crown on their heads. So in particular, Augustus, who was the first emperor of Rome, would wear one, and it was a symbol of victory, achievement, and status. And we also talked about the development of the Advent wreath in particular, so the evergreen wreath that would sit on your table with 5 candles. This developed in Germany in the 16th century, and there's a tradition of lighting candles in the weeks before Christmas.
Workshops at the Galt Museum will return in February. For more information, visit galtmuseum.com. Christmas can be a difficult time for those who are lonely or going through a tough situation. Pastor Joel Klimek of Mitz City Church talks about the importance of sharing the reason for the season.
So much of what Christmas is about is for people who are disconnected from the life they're intended to live. God came to reconcile us to Him, that we would be able to live in Him. And that Christmas, even for the lonely, the message of Christmas, one of His names, Jesus' names, is Emmanuel, God with us. He's with us in our loneliness, with us in our heartbreak.
Hal Roberts will talk more with Pastor Joel about keeping Christ as the focus of the Christmas season. That's coming up in the second half of our show. The Alberta government is going to war, energy war that is, as it's launched the Canadian Energy Centre, a war room meant to challenge oil and gas industry critics. Outside the announcement in Calgary this morning, protesters sang about climate change to the tune of Christmas carols.
Their money's where their mouths are, they'll pay to preserve the wonders of this earth.
This is designed to respond with facts to a campaign of misleading and dishonest propaganda that has come in large part from a highly coordinated campaign of foreign-funded special interests, particularly around the so-called tar sands campaign, which began in New York City at the Rockefeller Brothers Fund office in 2008. Tens of millions of dollars have flown into Canada and have been spent in the United States to support legal, political, and media efforts to damage the reputation of Canadian energy and to ultimately landlock our oil sands, in particular, which has the effect of landlocking Alberta energy more generally. And we just refuse to sit here and be a punching bag anymore.
Alberta's NDP leader Rachel Notley says there is now more material to show the Ethics Commissioner that the United Conservative Caucus was in a conflict of interest when it voted last month to fire Election Commissioner Lauren Gibson. Gibson had been investigating Premier Jason Kenney's party for fundraising violations in the 2017 leadership race won by Kenney and had already leveled $200,000 in fines on the party. The government says Gibson was fired for financial efficiency, not to stop his investigation. Investigators were looking for answers at the scene of a deadly plane crash on Vancouver Island. They would only say there were multiple deaths and no survivors. Witnesses reported hearing a huge explosion Tuesday as a twin-engine propeller aircraft nosedived into the ground near some homes on Gabriola Island off the coast of Vancouver Island. One witness says he saw the plane spiraling toward the ground and says that all the houses in the area shook when it crashed. He says the aircraft disintegrated and that the ground all around the crash site was on fire. The House Judiciary Committee began a marathon 2-day session to consider the impeachment charges against President Donald Trump with a lively primetime hearing at the Capitol.
What message does it send around the world when they see the president and his supporters attack and attempt to reveal the identity of the patriot who took the risk that exposed Trump's abuse of his presidency, his abuse of power? What message does it send when the world witnesses the president and his supporters denigrate, disrespect, and via Twitter harass a patriot while she was testifying in public? He has compromised their ability to fight for our values and democracy. This is another example of why the actions of this president threatens U.S. national security.
One of our colleagues across the aisle said, if the president were innocent, he would come forward. He would come forward and bring documents, give us all the documents we want, and everybody would come. To where? To this committee? We can't even get a fact witness in here. There's no fact witness can come in here. We get law professors and staff asking staff questions.
Members of New York's ultra-Orthodox Jewish community gathered for funerals for 2 victims of Tuesday's shooting at a grocery store in Jersey City, New Jersey.
He was just the best guy you can meet. He couldn't harm a fly. He was just an awesome guy. It was unbelievable to see where we're standing at his funeral. I just spoke to him the night before. He was okay. He was fine. He's helping out everybody in hospitals with the patients, sitting with them overnights.
UK voters heading to the polls today are likely to abandon long-held party loyalties after 3 years of wrangling over Brexit. Britain's nail-biting parliamentary election has been shadowed by questions of trust and transparency during 5 weeks of campaigning. Prime Minister Boris Johnson's Conservative Party was criticized for using misleading tactics on social media, but Jeremy Corbyn's Labour Party is still unlikely to win an outright majority, and smaller opposition parties hope to win enough seats so they can team with Labour to block Johnson's Brexit plans. Well, we have a chance of flurries today, but it should warm up over the weekend. Sunny days are ahead as we look at the weather picture coming up right after the break. And welcome back. Here's a look at our weather highlights for today and tomorrow in Lethbridge. We will see a chance of flurries today with a high of 3 degrees, a low of -13 overnight, and a high of only -9 tomorrow with lots of clouds in the forecast, a low of -12 overnight on Friday. Looking ahead to the weekend, lots of sunshine is expected for Saturday and Sunday with highs of -3 and -7. The temperature is going to dip down again to -1 on Monday and go to 0 on Tuesday. Lots of sunshine though expected for Monday and Tuesday with clouds rolling in on Wednesday and a high of -9 or -1 rather than the low is -9 for Wednesday. The highs and lows for this time of year. High should be around 0 degrees, the low around -12. That's according to the almanac. The highest record temperature on this day was in 1962. It was 13 degrees, and the lowest was a freezing -33. That was in 2000. The sun rose this morning at 8:19 a.m. and will be setting this afternoon at 4:31 p.m. The day shortenings are they're slowing down a little bit as we're getting closer to the winter solstice on December 21st. Over on the west coast, lots of rain expected today in Victoria and Vancouver. Highs of 9 and 8 degrees expected for those cities. High of only -11 in Edmonton. Chance of flurries. Chance of flurries expected also in Calgary today with a high of 1 degree. Looking over to Saskatchewan and Manitoba, we got some really frigid temperatures. -15 is the high in Saskatoon, mix of sun and cloud. There's some snow expected today in Regina with a high of -12 and a freezing -16 today in Winnipeg, but lots of sun is expected there as well. Over in the east, Toronto will be seeing a high of -2. A high of -3 is expected for both Ottawa and Montreal. Ottawa is expecting to see some flurries today. Lots of sunshine though today in Montreal. And over in Atlantic Canada, we're going to be seeing all kinds of precipitation over there. Snow is expected in Fredericton today with a high of -6. Snow also expected in Halifax, high of -3, high of -4 expected today in Charlottetown. They're going to be seeing some showers and lots of rain expected as well in St. John's, Newfoundland with a high of -3. That's your forecast. Here's a look at what's happening in your community.
Here's your Bridge City News community calendar. A Christmas craft sale is taking place on Saturday, December 14th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Interfaith Food Bank, 1103 3rd Avenue North. Find handmade wares from local artisans and items created by helpful hobbies and food recovery volunteers. Admission is free. Donations of food or funds for the Interfaith Food Bank will also be gratefully accepted. For more information, call 403-320-8779. Come to the Shakespeare Meets Dickens Christmas celebration with a Tudor Victorian flair. This event is taking place on Friday, December 20th at 7 p.m. in the ATB Community Room at Casa. Enjoy a performance of Dickens' A Christmas Carol, followed by scenes and songs from Shakespeare. Plus, join in the merriment and sing along to your favorite Christmas carols. Traditional treats including mince pies, gingerbread, eggnog, and mulled wine will be served. Tickets are $20 and can be purchased at Casa. For more information, call Kate at 403-329-4568. The YWCA Lethbridge and District's annual Stockings of Hope campaign is underway until Monday, December 16th. Residents and businesses can stop by the YWCA to adopt the stocking and fulfill a Christmas wish by purchasing some or all of the gifts on the list. Then return the gifts unwrapped to the YWCA by December 16th. For more information about this worthy cause, call 403-329-0088. And that's your Bridge City News community calendar.
Here is some faith-based news out of Central America. Pro-life leaders have revealed that the president of Costa Rica intends to covertly open the door to abortion. In the March for Life, tens of thousands of evangelical and Catholic believers came together with the same goal.
Tens of thousands of people march along the main streets of the city of San Jose, the capital of Costa Rica, in defense of life, led by a significant number of congressmen and political and spiritual leaders Adults, young people, and children marched demanding that President Carlos Alvarado refuse to sign a technical statute that would legalize abortion. In this march, evangelical Christians joined Catholics, all with the same goal. Some pastors and priests in positions of leadership at a national level were there to encourage their church members. The groups that have promoted this statute are the same ones that ask for unlimited abortion for any reason. This shows us that what's being proposed with this statute is unlimited abortion in Costa Rica. With a background of Christian music and signs like Yes to Life, the protesters moved along the march route. Costa Rica is a nation of life, a country that believes in life. Suddenly, in a deceptive way, an underground way, they want to substitute a law that represents the heart of Costa Ricans with an unnecessary law by which they can make abortion legal. The opposition leader, Fabricio Alvarado, sent a message directly to the president of the country. Mr. President, today you are operating against the people by intending to sign this technical statute. You are taking action against a population who are pro-life, against a people who are not in agreement and who understand that this technical statute is not necessary, a people who are very familiar with this subject. This march, entitled To Life I Say Yes, was organized by the National Front for Life. Javier Bolaños for the Global News Alliance.
Well, you might think that Santa uses a sleigh, but it looks like he actually got a little help from members of the Alaska Air National Guard as they flew to a rural village recently with a special mission, delivering some early Christmas cheer and a visit from Santa Claus to school children and their families.
Today we're in the village of Napiac, just outside of Bethel, and the Salvation Army is partnering with the Air National Guard. We've been doing so for 50 years to bring Christmas out to rural communities in Alaska, and today we are just excited to bring backpacks and bags of toys and gifts for the children here, because I think there's a special guest who's coming to be able to share all of that with the children.
Well, I'm on the ice cream part of it, so I want to get out the ice cream with the folks, but I really want to get around and meet the people here. This is my first time to this village, and I think for a lot of folks, this is their first time here as well. This is a big day.
I had a bunch of community members wanting to know what was going on today at 12 o'clock. We kept it pretty secret, and they wanted to know if they were invited, if they could come with their kids, and I said absolutely everybody's invited. We'd enjoy having you.
What a lovely gesture from the military, and those kids looked so excited. Well, national job numbers came in and we were lower than expected. One of our political reporters, Brian Lilly, says economists were expecting gains instead.
A loss of 71,000 jobs, and still trying to sort out why that happened, because the consensus of economists surveyed by Reuters was for a gain of 10,000, which isn't a big gain, but a drop of 71,000 is the biggest drop in several years. You compare that to the Americans, who added almost 250,000 jobs in the same time period. We both released our numbers last Friday, and it's a stark contrast.
We will hear more from Brian Lilly about the new NAFTA, which was officially signed in Mexico City. That's coming up in the second half of our show right after the breaks. Keep it right here.